Hello, John Miyares again from the USDA NASS Great Lakes Regional Field Office in East Lansing, Michigan. In this presentation, I'm going to go through the process of entering a couple of tracts into an ACES segment. The ACES and area surveys are very similar in nature, so you're going to see a lot of similarities between the two, but we thought it was important to take a few minutes to show you how the ACES instrument differs from the June area instrument. With that, let's get started. Now, the ACES survey, whether you're working with recycled segments or working with new segments, is going to be treated like every segment is brand new, that we have no information about it. You're going to see, of course, the gray bars are here, but there's no known tracts below any of these segments. So if we want to start entering information that we've collected about the segment, first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to click on Add. Are you sure you want to add a new tract? We'll say yes. They operate inside the blue lines. And what you're going to see as we go through the screening process, it's very similar to what we had for area, except you're going to see it says what were the boundaries of the land operated inside the blue lines. So I'll put in here, we'll get the full name, we'll say is Joe Schmo to Schmo Lane, any town. Say they're in Massachusetts. Phone number. Say as a cell phone. And then the screening questions that you're going to be looking at are going to be identical to those that you saw on the June area survey. We're going to assume this first tract operator is non-ag, so we're answering no, 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 no to all the questions. We'll say that this is a 3-acre residential lot that has no potential for agriculture. We'll code it here as residential. We have the choice at the end, again, of screening another tract or submitting the tract as is. I'll just submit the tract. And there we have our newly added tract to this segment. Let's say I want to now add an ag tract to this segment. Click on the Add button. Make sure you want to add a new tract. They operate inside the blue lines. And I will click Next. Operation name we will say is ABC Farms. And then the full name we'll say is Jack ABC. 222 County Road 7 in, again, any town, Massachusetts. Phone number here, which we'll say is a cell. The total acres operated on June 1, have there been or will there be any crops grown, hay cut, livestock, poultry? We're going to say yes. Of course, if you're doing this during pre-screening, you're going to get the banner which says that because it qualifies as an ag tract, we need to wait until the cutoff date to complete the survey. And so the only thing it will allow us to do is click here to go back to the listing page. Now we're going to pause 10 seconds and have a little magic happen behind the scenes in order for us to be able to enter the ag tract data. All right, now we have fast forwarded. We are going to assume we are now after the cutoff date and can start entering ag tract data into tract B. You'll notice over on the status column that it'll say enum started, ACES screening form, that all we've been able to do is go through the screener because it was too early to enter ag tract information. But now that we are beyond the cutoff date for allowing us to enter the ag tract data, I'll click back here on B2. It's going to ask me again if I lived or operated land inside the blue lines, and it's going to pick back up where we left off. And now, though, the difference is when I hit next, I'm going to get the opening screen for the ag tract questionnaire. We want to know, is this an individual operation, a hired manager, or partners? I will say that this was an individual operation. In the past 2 years, have they received mail for anybody else? No. Excluding partners and landlords, were there any other names associated with this operation? We'll say yes. And we will say Josephine Schmo. Have him at the same address, 222 County Road 7, Anytown, Massachusetts. And we'll say it was even the same phone number. Now, Section D works a bit differently here because it only has a handful of questions. How many acres were inside the blue boundary that we drew? Let's say that for this operation, it's 250 acres. Is there a farmstead? Yes. And how many acres does it occupy? We'll say 5. And that's all the information that we need to complete for Section D. Section E, we're asking about total acres operated. We'll say that they own 1,000 acres. They're renting 1,500 acres. They're not leasing anything to anyone, so the total acres operated is 2,500. That accounts for all the cropland, woodland, pasture land, and so on. Did the operation pay on a per head or animal unit month basis? We'll say no. How much was cropland? We'll say there were 2,400 acres of cropland. How many are in the CRP program? Let's say we have 15 acres here. Now we've jumped up to Section N, and here we are essentially going to record all the crops, land uses, livestock, poultry now on the total acres operated. Essentially, we're completing the points table for this operation. Even though it probably has more than $1,000 in sales, we're going to be recording everything here in the points table. I do not want to repeat the total acres that were recorded as CRP or WRP land. If there is separate idle cropland that was not signed up for CRP or WRP, then I can record it here under idle cropland. Then I can click on the plus sign to open up the next section. It already has the CRP and WRP payments. Let's say that for the other government payments, I'm going to list $4,000. Pasture and rangeland, well, I'm just going to put some numbers in here that we've got 40 acres of permanent pasture. I can list off field crops intended for harvest. Let's say we have 800 acres of corn, 600 acres of soybeans, and we'll have 200 acres of wheat. And maybe we'll say I have 200 acres of other hay. We have woodland crops here. I'm not going to list any woodland crops. Please do not list woods under woodland crops. We have options for indoor nursery, which will be reported to the nearest square foot, outdoor nursery to the nearest tenth of an acre, fruits and nuts, berries, vegetables and melons. We can list off the livestock. Let's say we have some steers. Let's say I have 20 steers. And let's say we have some chickens. Say we have 25 chickens. And we do not have any aquaculture. Sales, based on an operation this size, let's say that we are over the $500,000 limit and that this is primarily a field crop operation. And again, we can add the demographic information. We already identified earlier that this was an individual operation. So we'll enter Joe Schmo's name. We'll say he's male. We'll say he's 63 years old, non-Hispanic, white. Let's say he's been involved with this operation since 1993, and that he had his first farming operation in 1987. There are no other operators, nobody else making the day-to-day decisions. At least that's how we coded it in the first section of the questionnaire. So I'm going to skip to next. Or again, I can go through the 4 people. Next here. And then we have this operation email, survey conclusion. Say that this is abc@123.com. Operation phone. I already recorded a phone number, cell number. We don't need to have this here if we don't have a separate operation phone number. Say this was complete by the operator. Telephone on paper. We have our enumerator number. And then we can submit the survey. Just like with the June area survey, there is going to be a summary table which will give us an indication as to how many acres are in the segment altogether and how close we are in order to account for what's here. So we've accounted for 253 acres total out of the 715 in the segment. So we know we're going to have a few more tracts left to account for because our RADA ratio is only 35%. But it shows us I have 1 ag tract, 1 non-ag tract. Just like with June area, I could try to submit the segment, but it's going to give us a warning that the RADA is not within 10% of the digitized acres, so we do not want to be submitting this right now. But if you're familiar now with the June area instrument, and now you've seen the ACES instrument, you can see that they're very, very similar to each other. Again, the only difference, when I go to click here, I'll be able to select either June area or ACES, switching back and forth between the two in order to get from one assignment listing to the other. That's all I was hoping to show you here in this presentation. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you all again very soon.